Sigma chapter of Greenville, and their hashtag, or their, in essence, their tag is Z Squad Greenville 1981 on Instagram. So you can go to Z Squad Greenville 1981, Z Squad Greenville 1981 YouTube. You have the pleasure of checking us out, and you can subscribe on YouTube. And that's the Smith Way Enterprises. And then on Super Live, we're being broadcast as WVSW Radio Internet. Check us out on Super Live. So you have an opportunity to check us out on each and every one of those devices. We have a comment, say, share your thoughts down here. There's a couple of things you can do. You can send a like up, you can send a heart up. You can purchase a star, a badge, a flower, a light, as well as you can send confetti, whatever you want to send to support what we do. We will appreciate you doing that. As we talk about WVSW Radio, the number one internet station, we have listeners I started to show off sharing with you and watchers in 50 countries and on 6 continents. And just to have you here, and I tell you, we have them from all over the world checking us out. It may be 8 hours different. And where we are today, it might be in some cases 11 or 12 o'clock at night, but they're still checking us out. And I thank you so much. And I'm going to give each and every one of you all a shout out that's joining us. And I see on Instagram, thank you so much, as people slowly come in. As we talk about being on 6 continents, 50 countries, we want to provide you an opportunity to address the various things in our neck of the woods. Grassroots perspectives. We want to meet the needs of individuals. So what we want to focus on many topics that gathering information, sharing information. And the title today is Exploring Our Future. And I want you to think about, what are you thinking about what you see in your future? What vision do you have? What things you would like to happen in your future? And we're going to talk about some things dealing with American politics. We're going to talk about American education, and we're going to talk about American scars. And a lot of us have scars, and it's not unusual that we encounter it. We also want you to be a part of this by registering for WVSW Radio giveaways. And today we're going to be giving away a gift card, and it's let me make sure I get it one. It's Buffalo Wild Wings. We're going to give away this gift card. We're going to raffle this off, and we ask you to have your name in there. You can type your name down as a comment, and also when you're typing your name, we ask you, as the registration process is, provide us with a means of transaction. What we do is we send love off, and it's Christmas time. We're going to send something from $5 to $100. You're going to get something, but you need to have one of these means of transaction: Bitcoin, Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, or Zelle. And you can send your name along with one of those to WVSW Radio, the internet station 23@gmail.com. I'll slow it down. WVSW Radio, the THE internet station 23@gmail.com, or Lorenza D. Smith 15@gmail.com. And the spelling on Lorenza D. Smith is Lorenza, D as in David, SMITH 15@gmail.com. As I stated, you can support us by purchasing a badge, a star, a flower, a light, or you can send confetti. You can also send a golden heart. If you want to subscribe, you can go to the Smith Way Enterprises on YouTube and subscribe. On Facebook, you have an opportunity to monetize what you're doing, along with the other devices that we're working with. So truly, we look for your support. But to definitely, if you're willing to help us, like where we're providing the raffle for this today, we're raffling off this card along with a book that one of our authors was here, spoke about their book, and I purchased several of them so we can give away. Coming Out of the Storm: From Brokenness to Wholeness. and it's by Sherelle Barnes O'Fair. So check us out. Make sure your name is in, because I need to have your name along with a means of transaction. If you don't want to send a means of transaction, just put your name. Type it in the comment section, and I'll make sure I put you in there for the raffle. We're going to do the raffle at the 30-minute break between the segments, and we're going to make sure we're going to be here a little longer than an hour a day, because we're going to make sure we get all the information out today. Let me give a shout out to some people that are joining us. Thank you so much for joining us. But before we do that, we want you to sow a seed, as I was getting to, $1 with WVSW Radio at Cash App, $, LORENZA, D as in David, SMITH, or PayPal. You have an opportunity. Lorenza D. Smith15 @gmail.com. And if you're on Bitcoin, you can send that Bitcoin to Lorenza D. Smith15 @gmail.com. We will ask you we always asking is $1 to sow a seed with this radio station. And if you like what we're doing, make sure you do that. Make sure you say you like the live, send $1. That's all we had. Cash out $1. PayPal $1. Bitcoin $1. That's what we actually do. Let's give a shout out to Nikki_Penny5. Thank you, Nikki. I see you joining us again. You was here the other day. Thank you so much for joining us. As well as Sean A. Michella, Atlanta. Is Shawnee Michelle Atlanta. Thank you, Sean, so much for joining. _Marlene _Seville. Thank you so much. Jerry Morrell is joining us. We're going to say hi to Miss Linda. Thank you, Miss Linda 719. Thank you for joining us. As well as Andre Gabriel. Thank you so much for joining us. We have Predelis Yundin. Thank you so much. Louise.m.clean. Thank you so much. Malik X. Thank you so much. Thank you for the likes, Malik. So for taking time to send it to us. With supporters $1. So let's see. Purchase a star. Purchase a badge. Purchase a flower. Purchase a light. Different devices, we have different opportunities. We have a gold heart. Purchase a gold heart. Ties. Thank you for your support. We have A with several dots. Thank you, A. We also have Big Mama joining us. Teresa. This is Josephus Henry. Thank you, Wayne. Cynthia. Thank you so much. Mardi Gras. NCR. CC, thank you so much. Victor Dawson, that's Willa Belize 838. Thank you, sir, so much. Bus Unit, thank you. This is Rutty, thank you. Let's be encouraged. Share with your friends. Invite your friend to come along. Check us out today. Kicking It with K. That's who's joining us as well. Money Bag Moody _ thank you so much. We also have Sis Williams, Jake, thank you. Juanita Johnson, Breeze, No Weapon 98, thank you so much. Night Nurse 828, thank you so much for joining us. We also have and it's this is Big It Him Shaq. I didn't say that, but we'll get close to that. Kenchi, Mario, Miranda, T Westsail 45. Thank you so much for joining us again. The Prophets. Thank you so much. Edgar, thank you for taking time. The user, Delora Thomas, South Post Oak. Thank you so much for joining us. Constantine, Tanisha Harris, thank you, Tanisha, so much for being here and supporting us. Cohen Live Scan, thank you so much. KB in North Carolina, thank you, KB, for taking time to join us and be here with us. Jarice Allen as well. Pastor Cross, thank you, Pastor, for joining us. And again, Jerry Morrell, 72. I want to give a shout out to Mary Mark. Thank you, says, hey, how you doing? Alexis, thank you so much for joining us. Zevon, thank you so much for joining us. Sarah, Wada, thank you so much for taking time. And tell your friends and pass it on to other individuals. Thank you so much for being here. Let's get started with our show because it's important for us to explore our future. Do you see yourself from today present in the future as being bright? Do you see it as a great opportunity because you're preparing yourself in the present for the future? The idea of the show is a deep dive into modern society. If you're modern time, if you are millennial and younger, you are the modern time. And we also have Generation X. And we want you to understand that we're going to offer some things here. Hopefully it's a blessing to you when we do a deep dive into modern society. As you know, recently, we just completed and finished the election. It was November the 5th. And we want to talk about American politics. And we want to do a deep dive in the autopsy of the November 5th results. And we're going to take time to open it up, split it, address issues to see how that election was for you. If you feel like you didn't get what you need to do, want it to happen, you got to understand it's like any competitive situation. When we are not successful, we don't get angry. We don't lash out at people. We don't go into a panic mode, screaming and hollering like some people I saw. What we do is let's sit down and do a deep dive in how we can be successful the next time. What can we do? Now, if the hill is too large for you to climb, then you need to think about let's plan for maybe 15 years from now or 12 years from now, because the hill is so large to climb. We fell so far down because of some things that we thought that people was in agreement with, and they were not in agreement. As we look at the political scene, a landscape, we want to kind of focus on this as a time. In the timeline, we're going to focus on which gives you an understanding what led to the defeat of the Democratic National Conference in this election. We want to build this timeline dating back from 2020. See, as a fellow that spent a lot of time in classroom doing timelines as a history, social studies teacher, I like putting timelines together because I think it's important that we understand where we are, where we're going, where we need to be. Let's start with the what led to the results of the November 5th election. I had some strong points that I wanted to play for you as I was talking. So let's kind of see, are we getting some kickback somewhere? We are getting some kickbacks. It keeps saying we're unable to start that, but that's all right. Sometimes it's like that, but we'll move forward. And I want to play a couple of clips with you because we're going to start with the some dates of what led a timeline that led to the defeat of the Democratic Party, Democratic National Conference, DNC. We'll leave it right there. And as we look at some of these statements as we look at some things that center around. Let's start with the first of the timeline that led to the defeat. On June the 27th, 2020 was the day that Kamala challenged Vice President Biden on the debate stage on busing of students. She challenged him because he had friends who was for not integrating schools. See, simply people forgot about that. She stated that I'm not calling you racist, but you have some racist political friends. In essence, Biden took that as inferring that he was racist. And that was the start of what we're looking at today. That was the start of the defeat, whether you believe it or not, because it was something that the Bidens didn't forget. They made sure that the person was kept close to you. Have you ever heard this saying? And the saying is, keep your friends close, but your enemy even closer. If the 10 million people heard that and was at awe at that cut deep into that situations. Seems like my computer is kind of dragging a little bit, but it'll come. We'll move to the next timeline, next date, August 11, 2020. This was when the Democratic Party decided to make Joe Biden the nominee. He was chosen by the Democratic Party. And he went on and chose as his running mate, as the VP, Democratic presidential candidate, Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris is the first Black woman and South Asian American to be a vice president candidate. This was the start of everything that led to what happened on November the 5th, 2024. There's a lot of things in there. But what we want to make sure, if I can get my computer to do what it's supposed to, because it's still spinning, but maybe it'll pick up if I go to another set. And we can hear some of the instances when things happen. And we'll see, can we get it to come up? Oh, we're going to make this do. We're going to make it work. This is WVSW Radio, the #1 internet station. And this is our voice. And we're going to focus on things in our community. Focus about where we are today and why we're in the situation we are in today. Why we're doing what we're doing. But we're a grassroots perspective, and we're going to push forth and talk about the grassroots. Let's start with the first clip. As soon as we can get it to come up, let's go. Let's make it do what it do.
On the issue of race, I couldn't agree more that this is an issue that is still not being talked about truthfully and honestly. There is not a Black man I know, be he a relative, a friend, or a coworker, who has not been the subject of some form of profiling or discrimination. Growing up, my sister and I had to deal with the neighbor who told us her parents couldn't play with us because we were Black. And I will say also that in this campaign, we've also heard, and I'm going to now direct this at Vice President Biden, I do not believe you are a racist. And I agree with you when you commit yourself to the importance of finding common ground. But I also believe, and it's personal, and it was hurtful to hear you talk about the reputations of two United States senators who built their reputations and career on the segregation of race in this country. And it was not only that, but you also worked with them to oppose busing. And, there was a little girl in California who was part of the second class to integrate her public schools. And she was bused to school every day. And that little girl was me. So I will tell you that on this subject, it cannot be an intellectual debate among Democrats. We have to take it seriously. We have to act swiftly. As Attorney General of California, I was very proud to put in place a requirement that all my special agents would wear body cameras and keep those cameras on. Senator, thank you. Vice President Biden, you have been
That was the presentation by, at the time, presidential candidate Kamala Harris in regards to Joe Biden. We want to play Joe Biden's response because he did respond to it. And I think it's important we get the whole picture.
To do that. I was a public defender. I didn't become a prosecutor. I came out and I left as the as the Vice President of the United States. I worked with a man who, in fact, we worked very hard in a major way. In terms of busing, the busing, you would have been able to go to school the same exact way because it was a local decision made by your city council. That's fine. That's one of the things I argue for, that we should be breaking down these lines. But so the bottom line here is, look, everything I've done in my career, I ran because of civil rights. I continue to think we have to make fundamental changes in civil rights. And those civil rights, by the way, include not just only African Americans, but the LGBT community.
But Vice President Biden, do you agree today that you were wrong to oppose busing in America?
No.
Do you agree?
I did not oppose busing in America. What I opposed is busing ordered by the Department of Education. That's what I opposed.
Well, there was a failure of states to integrate public schools in America. I was part of the second class to integrate Berkeley, California public schools almost 2 decades after Brown v. Board of Education.
Because your city council made that decision.
So that's where the federal government must step in. That's why we have the Voting Rights Act and the Civil Rights Act. That's why we need to pass the Equality Act. That's why we need to pass the ERA, because there are moments in history where states fail to preserve civil rights of all
I supported the ERA from the very beginning when I ran the
30 seconds. I want to bring
I supported the ERA from the very beginning. I'm the guy that extended the Voting Rights Act for 25 years. We got to the place where we got 98 out of 98 votes in the United States Senate doing it. I've also argued very strongly that we, in fact, deal with the notion of denying people access to the ballot box. I agree that everybody wants to in fact. Anyway, my time's up.
Thank you, Vice President.
I wanted you to listen to that because I thought it was important that we hear this was happening in 2020, and this was the beginning pretty much of what's coming to the end by January 20 of 2025. You can have your opinion of what you think the results was, how it was what it was, but you got to see the context of what to a lot of challenges coming from one part of the party from the other part of the party, which is we're talking about the Democratic Party. And we're talking about the results. We're talking about politics. We're talking about a deep dive into the autopsy of November the 5th. What happened? These are the timelines, and we want to share some things in regards. And we're just talking to the host of Our Voice, which is the results in the on our timeline, which would be March 1. That is when President Biden, Joe Biden, announced that he was the process. That word came up a lot in the southwest border. March 24th, 2021. Then on March the 11th, we take a step back because President Biden signed the American Rescue Plan. And it's a sweeping $1.9 trillion package, which is into law in the early part of March. The series of measures which make up most consequences pieces of the legislation and dictate intend to bolster the U.S. recovery from $600 per child. That happened in early March. Then we get to August 16, 2022. President Biden signed the Inflation Reduction Act into law. The Inflation Reduction Act of 2022, better IRA, is a landmark United States federal law which aimed to reduce the federal government budget deficit, lowering prescription drug prices, and invest in domestic energy production while promoting clean energy. The Inflation Reduction Act. November 2022, Biden signed the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act. It was tied 50-50 in the Senate, and it was broken by the vice president. So we're talking about the election of 2020. And when we were talking about the Infrastructure Investment and Job Act, it's the legislature that would infuse $1.2 trillion in American traditional hard infrastructure such as roads and bridges. I just asked you, how many roads and bridges have you seen been worked on? I know some situations in my particular local area. There's a stretch of highway that's supposed to be a part of a loop around the city. Been 30 or 40 years, have been nothing but a little bit done. A half a mile's been done. So there's a lot of money out there. What was this money really being used? The bill passed was a mark for the White House event with lawmakers from both parties signing off on it. And then in April 25th, 2023, President Biden, the 46th and incumbent president, announced his candidacy for re-election for his second presidential term with Vice President Kamala Harris as his running mate. Then, July the 21st, 2024, President Biden dropped out of the race. And this was a Sunday, which ended his bid of re-election after a disastrous debate with Donald Trump. President Biden on Sunday announced that he will not seek a second term, following a revoke by top congressional Democrats and donors. The president intends on serving his term out, and he quickly endorsed Vice President Kamala Harris to take on Trump, encouraging the party to unite behind her, making her the party instant favor for nomination in its August convention in Chicago. Remember 2020. Remember the debate. Always remember this as I share with you. Keep your friends close and keep your enemies even closer. Your story has worked our way through the story and how we can now dissect what happened, why there was the splitting, the fighting, the party, losing individuals who always support a coalition of individuals who always supported the party. Sometimes it's the small thing that causes us to take for granted the opportunity that we have. This is WVSW Radio, the number one internet station. I'm Dr. Loza D. Smith, and we're focusing on exploring our future. What's the future for us after November 5th? Ask yourself that. Do you see it as great times ahead of us or poor times? That's your opinion. And we would like for you to share it. Like I do, become a guest. If I see some people that invited, and I want to make sure if you're on here and want to talk, I'm going to make sure. But what I need you to do is where your name is, type under your name and say, I want to be a guest. And then you hit the guest invite button. That way I can hit it to make sure I get you on here so you can share your thoughts. As we move through this timeline, we want to really kind of look at some other things. The next thing on the timeline, and pretty much the date was the election. I'm sorry, the DNC that was held in Chicago. And after Biden resigned, after Biden stepped out of the race, on the 23rd, there were a Zoom call put together by the coalition of Black women that had 44,000 individuals on a Zoom call. And also it said raised about $1.5 million. The call was the purpose to begin the campaign and endorse Vice President Kamala Harris to succeed Joe Biden as the representative of the Democratic Party. Some believe that Sunday night Zoom call was to galvanize support for Vice President Harris. In 3 hours, they talked and raised $1.5 million. The DNC happened August 19th to the 22nd of 2024, the convention in Chicago. And it was a celebration for Kamala Harris and Tim Walz. This was the president and the vice president nominee. On August 19th specifically, during that time frame I just gave, the president was forced to speak at his convention on the first night that rubbed that individual and their family. No one believed that would happen because it still was his party. It still was his convention. On August the 20th through the 22nd of 2024, they had celebrities like Barack and Michelle Obama, President Barack and First Lady Michelle Obama. You had Magic Johnson, Wendell Pierce, Second Gentleman Doug Emhoff, Oprah Winfrey, Bill, Hillary Clinton, Dr. Jill Biden, James Clyburn, Raphael Warnock, Jamie Reskin, Lil Jon, Spike Lee, Kerry Washington, Stevie Wonder, Common, Patti LaBelle, Anthony Anderson, John Legend, and Sheila E., D.L. Hughley, Stephen Curry, all spoke. There are many others that spoke. Those what we call celebrities who stood out. So now you can see the formation that the celebrities were supporting the Democratic Party. So as we move forth through the timeline, former President Donald Trump shakes hands with Vice President Kamala Harris as the presidential debate at the National Constitution Center in Philadelphia on September the 10th 2024. United States President Joe Biden and U.S. Vice President and the candidate for president Kamala Harris appeared together in a campaign event in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania on September the 2nd, 2024. President Biden talked about his father being a union leader and how they passed a baton, or in essence, when there's some challenge about the story of Jesus Christ, how he was identified by the soldiers. We had the kiss of failure. He passed the kiss from himself to Kamala Harris. It was continually downhill. We're trying to do a deep dive because we put this timeline together. On October the 8th, 2024, appeared on ABC talk show review. The question that was stuck in the craw in America that was asked, what would you do different? That was to President candidate Vice President Harris. And she could not identify any different with Biden when everybody wanted her to step away and run her own campaign. But she couldn't. She was tied at the hip due to 2020 debate. I want you to think about that. The whole saying, keep your friends close and keep your enemy and foe even closer. And that's where the hookup, and that's when you kind of start seeing that she was obligated to Biden and couldn't step away from Biden, and it was still starting the ball rolling downhill. And we get to the point that it could not be stopped. On October the 11th, 2020, the message less supporting of Vice President, he inferred that they didn't want a black woman as president. So he identified black men that was not voting for presidential candidate Harris as being sexist, misogynist, everything that identified as negative. But this took the rounds, which led to 41% of those black males vote for Donald Trump. People were angry. Black men was incensed. I'm a black man. I was incensed. You're not my father. You can't come tell me what I want. I'm a grown man. Respect as a grown man. And I choose to vote. I can't. And that's what a lot of the 41% of black males felt that way. And since that, I didn't leave a good taste toward President Obama with black men. They really don't. And he's still being asked to go right off in the sunset. Because you're not the person that can chastise. You're a man just like we all are. We make our choices. And that's what we shouldn't ever get caught up. That's why we're talking from the grassroots perspective. Find out everything you can find out about the candidate of your choice. And if you're not comfortable, you're not forced to have that vote just because you're a party. You vote for what's best for your interest. This election proved that. A lot of people vote for their issues, but for the issues they're dealing with and their interests. That's what they truly did. So that's what we had going on so far. So we move forward, and we're gonna talk about something I think is really important. And I want you, in regardless of what culture you are, to understand as a black man where I'm coming from. Black men are tired of being treated as second-class citizens in their own race. Here's what it is. You can agree or disagree with me. But this is a deep dive. And this is where you can see some of the carnage begin to come out. This is what led to the defeat of the Democratic Party. Because we voted for Hillary Clinton. So we had to do with It has nothing to do with a woman being the president. Everybody went out and vote. She got 90%, 93% of the black vote. So we decide to think for ourselves and no longer let guiding where people like so-called individuals that think they're leaders, we can lead ourselves. We're intelligent enough to do that. So it was shown in the election. Cam, thank you so much for joining us. Give you a hi. Ash, thank you for joining us. Is Keita, thank you for joining us. You also have Renee Lockhart, thank you for taking time. Joe, thank you for taking time. Abby, thank you so much for joining us. Mocha Diva, and we have a user here also. We have Ava Beckford, thank you so much. Mr. Robert, 1751, thank you. Sarah Special, a new follower, thank you so much for joining us. We also have Lisa taking time to be here as a new follower as well. We're going to make sure we follow you back. We have an ID here that's joining us. And as we move forward, this is WVSW Radio. We're so thankful to come before you. And why we're just so happy is that God has given us a chance to just take a deep dive. You might not feel comfortable taking a deep dive, but you can hate on me. It's okay. You can hate on me. We don't want to write shit in music, but we want to play this music before we move to finishing up this timeline and look at some more focus areas of today's show.
Wells Fargo has donated $58 million to support scholarships and programming, empowering students with tools for a brighter future. Tune gets it done.
So I bought a $500 bottle of Creative Antics because it's the world's most popular fragrance, potentially.
On the rights to the music. Whoa. Yeah. You can hate on me, but I'm still gonna do my thing. Hate on me. We're gonna keep on talking about it. Still remember my name. You can hate on me. Yeah, I know you don't like me. You can hate on me. I guarantee you will remember my name. Nobody is perfect. Everybody forget. They try to put me down like this shit don't stink. That's why I keep my head down and slip my drain. Yeah, nobody's perfect. That's another thing everybody forget. They try to walk around like this shit don't stink. That's why I keep my head down and slip my drain. You can hate on me, but I'm still gonna do my thing. You can hate on me. Guarantee you still remember my name. You can hate on me. Yeah, I know you don't like me. No, you know me. I guarantee you still remember my name. You can call me life. You can call me a cheat. You can call me a cheat. I know I probably called you out your name, but I never would be. So I never put my name. You can call me a man. You can call me a you can call me a freak. I know you didn't like when I put you on game, but I still had to teach it. Still never got to teach it. Never got to teach it. Come on, send a light up. Send a star. She put it all on me. It wasn't time that I had to go have a dove. Yeah. You can hate on me. Woo. But I still gonna do my thing. You can hate on me. My. I'm Dr. Lawrence D. Smith. You hate on me. This is WVSW Radio, the #1 internet station. And our show today is just focusing on just grassroots ideals, perspective, ideology, and the needs of individuals at our local level. And in this timeline is talking about weather election and how we're going to go through the autopsy of that relationship, of that election, and we're going to take time to see what's going on. And maybe we can come out and understand that we need to make some adjustments. And we can do the right thing when we are willing to open our minds and make sure. And don't carry the anger. Don't look at exactly how the person is and who you see. And I want to give you some information in regards to some people that share their thoughts. And they are members of the Democratic Party. They spoke on some things that we need to prepare ourselves in our mind to understand that it's just like what matters. We still have to live through it. So we have to make sure we put the work in. We're going to move on with our timeline. We got a few more phases, and then we're going to jump on where we're going to kind of share some things here. On October the 17th, special report anchor Brent Baer, press vice president Kamala Harris on key issues during her first interview with Fox News. The issues was pressed. What would you do? What would you do different? Are we better off than we was 4 years ago? These are the kind of questions now to that interview. That, it was an aggressive interview, but that interview needed to happen. And it should have been more interviews like that. Should have been more opportunities to talk to the public, because a lot of people went into the election didn't have a clue who that person was. Besides that, I grew up in a middle class family, or I, in essence, went to Howard University, and things like that. But truly, you worked at McDonald's. Truly, let's be realistic. You wanted to know how we're going to address the economic problem, because we have some economic problems. We haven't have them today. Some people say it's getting better, but still, if you go to grocery, surprise, went to the grocery store the other day and purchased about 8 items, which cost $140. So you can sit up and tell me it's okay. I got a power bill at my home that I normally keep it at a level because it wasn't going to increase of usage, but the price increased. And it's because of the shortage of having access to the power. And power is made from gas. You do know that. You don't know that, I'm telling you that now. So if you don't produce gas or produce oil, then you cannot use your electrical parts of it. So people have to always keep that in mind. Sometimes we get caught up thinking, yeah, we want to have the EV. I'm for the EV. Is that what you want? I'm fine with it, but we can't cut off the production of oil so we can have the gas, because we still got a lot of gas products. So that was another point that took it down here. So you got to answer the question, and you can't just try to out-talk people or cut people off. See, and that's one of the things we have to do and work on our culture. When we're having a conversation, a spirited debate, we cannot cut people off because we don't like what they're saying. Those saying that we can't use sign language. So if you're using sign language when you want to cut people off, you've seen an instant in there, I showed it, you heard it when the discussion was going on at the debate, at the presidential debate back in 2020. She actually stepped in and cut up Biden off. And the point is, we see that too many times. We see that too many times, and you've been around, and you might be the person that's doing it. We have to work on being able to hear what somebody, we have to be active listeners so we can be able to take what we heard, comprehend on it, and then articulate it back to where it comes from. So we have to make sure we don't use sign language. And sign language is an acronym of shame. See, when people don't say what you want them to say or do what you want to do, you try to shame them. Let's go back to the session when we was talking about with Obama, when he really was trying to shame black men, trying to whip them in shape. You may agree or don't agree. I don't care if you agree or don't agree. But it was not the time to come and tell them what they're not doing. We're going to play that clip right quick.
And we really don't care to hear from him. We don't care for him to come and what.
Okay. I was hoping I had another opportunity to play that right there, but I want to ask those people on Instagram to bear with me just 1 second. because we're running into a little power situation around here, and we want to make sure we can keep the power up so we won't lose you. Okay, so work with me. Work with me. I'm asking you to do that, and everybody else, appreciate y'all being supported as well. And we're going to have to make adjustment to our device so we can make sure we have it in place. It's kind of lenient, but we're going to make it do what it do. Thank you so much for supporting. And we're on low battery. So we back up and running. Thank you so much. And you're closer to me now. Thank you. And I wanted to play that, but it seemed like my clip didn't come in for some reason. But we'll see, can we play it now?
And we really don't care to hear from him. We don't care for him to come and wait.
Well, it look like we keep getting cut off. Thought we had a better setup than that. Let me see.
And we really don't care to hear from him. We don't care for.
So I wanted to play that because that was talking about the wagging of the finger and everything. And that was another ball that helped roll it downfield. As we move forward and talk about some other things in when we're going through in the art talk of the election and the results, we just taking the Democratic body and putting it there, and we just pulling out some things that we got to look at. When there's when you're doing the art talk on you, they're gonna look at your heart, they're gonna look at your major organs, they're gonna look at and see exactly where you are and how are you, what happened. Got to test it, see the weight on it and everything. So on October the 23rd, getting close to the election, Harris called Trump, reported remarks of a Hitler and Nazi. Deep trouble. October the 18th, October the 24th, Harris said Trump is a fascist. That's after John made a remark. On October the 3rd, Biden called Trump supporters garbage. On November the 2nd, Biden, when he was told, he took his cell phone. See, people don't realize that it took the federal president's cell phone, took his iPad, and told him to go home. Instead, he still went out and campaigned. Just remember now, 2020, just inferring that because I got friends that was fighting for that and I'm racist. This is sort of keep the enemy well close. Keep your friends close, enemy even closer. And this is what he was doing. He was setting it up so he can make sure he can throw a monkey wrench. So President Biden slammed former President Donald Trump as someone he would like to smack in that ring in. I'm going to say the word he said. Doing a campaign trail speak or an event. November 4th, Vice President and presidential Democratic president candidate, nominee for president, Kamala Harris, and former President Donald Trump delivered their closing pitch to the voters in the key battleground states ahead of the election. November 5th, Trump won all 7 battleground states, the popular vote, the electoral college, 312 to 226, in both houses. And at the closing, the Biden and the team never forgot at the time Democratic candidate for president, Kamala Harris, inferring that President Biden was a racist because of the friends he was around. This happened in 2020 Democratic debate. So what do the future hold for us? But before we move to the future, got a few more clips I want to play because it's important that I play these clips. This one is from Stephen A. Smith. Let me see, can I find that? From Stephen A. Smith talking about what he's finding out as an independent. But even though he's sure, he stated this like I did. I voted for Kamala Harris as well. But I tell you now, I have declared I'm an independent. Okay? Stephen A. Smith shares the same thought process.
And now here we are yet again finding even more evidence to Donald Trump's claims when he articulated that the process is rigged, the Democrats are this or that, they're talking about us, but look at what they do. We don't know all the details. It's a report. Justice Department comes out with this. That's not my big issue. My big issue is that I'm really, really sick and tired of every time I turn around finding something else that the Democrats have lied about or downplayed or misrepresented along the way.
So my reaction to this is about the fact that there are more people like Stephen A. Smith finally coming out, and they're not afraid to say exactly what we've been saying, especially over the past 4 years. We know already that January 6th is a sham. We know that people were set up. We know that people were overly prosecuted. They talked about they are the party of justice and law and order. Well, they definitely abused that, and they used that day as justification to do it. And that's why when you hear what Joe Biden has to say about his presidency, you can't help but laugh and shake your head. Watch this.
It's hard to do in American politics these days.
So it's just interesting how someone like Stephen A. Smith is finally coming out and saying this after an Inspector General report. Why didn't you say this 2 years ago? Oh, that's right, because you're caught up in the propaganda. So yes, I'm going to react to these videos, and yes, I'm going to call them out. It's because common sense would have told you at that point in time, hey, this is propaganda. Where's the other side to this story? Let me think for myself.
To the Democratic Party, you know what I'm getting really pissed off about? I'm getting really ticked off, and every time they open their mouth about something pertaining to y'all, they seem right. I would love to argue with Sean Hannity. How can I? Do you know what Sean Hannity used to do to me when I told him Kamala Harris had a chance? He'd laugh. Like literally, genuinely giggle. He'd go on TV and put on his straight face to y'all. You gotta be concerned. This election could go either way. He laughed. He wasn't concerned about her. Before I called out Biden, he was calling Biden Sleepy Joe. What's percolating on social media today? Just go and look at it, y'all. Joe Biden is caught napping at an African summit in Angola.
Okay, so clearly we are witnessing into the propaganda. You know what's the interesting thing about this? Stephen A. Smith represents himself as an independent, not a tried and true Democrat. So it seems to me that we're finally in this season where all of these conspiracy theories are becoming true. Now you and me and so many others out there know.
This is WVSW Radio, the #1 internet station. I'm Dr. Lawrence D. Smith, and our title today is Exploring, and I want you to keep in mind this is what we're working on, exploring our future. This is a deep dive in modern society, deep dive in what is going on and went on through the election process and where we are today. We're hearing from several people who are, and I'll let you know how they voted and some things they are concerned about. I have a couple more clips that I want to play here, and I'm listen to Van Jones. Listen to Van Jones.
How can Donald Trump? Guys, can we cut it out? Donald Trump is not an idiot. Donald Trump, let me just be very clear. Donald Trump is smarter than me, you, and all critics. You know how I know? Because he has the White House, the Senate, the House,
Totally agree.
Court, the popular vote. He has a massive media ecosystem bigger than the mainstream built around him and for him, and a religious fervor in a political movement. And his best buddy is the richest person in the history of the world, and the most relevant candidate is with him. This dude is a and we're still saying, well, how was this guard? We look like idiots. Or you're
Just think about that. If we're still at that point, still shouting various things, because it's amazing how this situation with being a Nazi and a Hitler, that they related to Donald Trump, no longer many people are saying a fascist. This is Van Jones, and Van Jones didn't bite his tongue in regards to Donald Trump, but he realized, and a lot of us gonna have to realize, the election is over with. The people have spoken. They voted for that with their interests in mind, not identity politics. And that's what we can't let the future continue to be. We're going to see the Democrats sink into disparity after Trump. Same thing will happen in 28 after Vance win. And the same thing will happen in 32, Vance win again. And in 36, if there are not any waking up and accepting what happened in 24 and still trying to get back, it will be the candidate from the Republican Party in 36. So the next time and the possibility of the Democrats, the future, we're talking about the future, being in that seat at the White House will be as early possibly at 32 or as late as 36. Think about how old you'll be then. Think about you being saw 12 years of this run. Think about it. And that's based on hearing some of these people who are Democrats, staunch supporters, speaking at the DNC, speaking and telling you, it's not an idiot. They're not liking because what he tweet and say, but he has the power to get everybody to support him, especially when he see that this is what we need. We need gas prices to come down. We need food prices to come down. We need taxes to come down. We need this. We could not sustain another 4 years of the same thing because it would have gutted us. And that's speaking from my pocket. And you probably want to speak for your pocket. And the next person I want to play is he's a Republican who really doesn't and still don't to a sense like Donald Trump. But when you've been through a competitive phase or in your life, if you was in competition, when you lose to someone, you're now you need to make the adjustment because you're now trying to catch and get where they are. You have to accept and say, what do I need to get myself in order? This is Senator Mitt Romney.
Entire time about the Republican Party and Trump.
She said in an interview a few months ago that, quote, there's a good chance that the Republican Party is going to need to be rebuilt or reoriented, and that you want to have a voice in the post-Trump Republican Party. Do you think that you still think there's going to be a post-Trump Republican Party, or is MAGA now the Republican Party?
Oh, MAGA is the Republican Party, and Donald Trump is the Republican Party today. And if you were to ask me who the nominee will be in 2028, I think it'll be J.D. Vance. All right, he's smart, well-spoken, part of the MAGA movement.
You said something pretty harsh about him a few months ago, though. You could not have less respect for somebody than J.D.
Long ago. I'm not going to rehash history, and we worked together in the Senate since then. But I that is what the Republican Party is. And will the party need to change? Look, the Republican Party has become the party of the working class, middle class voter, and you've got to give Donald Trump credit for having done that, taking that away from the Democrats.
Now, what I actually am,
I don't know how they recover, and I'm not going to tell them what to do because I would begin to have the capacity to do so. But they've lost their base. Union guys and gals have left the Democratic Party and are voting Republican. And the Democratic Party is seen not as rich people, but as college professors and woke scolds. And that's not an attractive feature.
now, of course, I'm not a fan of Mitt Romney. I'm sure you are not. Guys,
Just want you to listen to that. What did he say? The face of the Republican Party in the direction they're going. This is one of the staunch challengers of Donald Trump within the party. He was hoping that Donald Trump would lose, and that way they can work to restore the old Republican Party. But by the winning, he realized that this is the MAGA Party. The old guard is no longer there. Mitt Romney was part of the old guard. And he realized, I'm going to continue to be a successful senator, representative of my constituents. I have to get on the plan too. When you lose, that's what happens. You have to come to the winners. You have to put down the anger and work on trying to come together so we can have more success, so we can be successful. I want to play another clip, and this clip is really talks pretty much about the thought process of where the party is and what's happening in regards to the future of America after the November 5th autopsy of the Democratic Party. One thing was said, again, Democrats are living their nightmare. This is a nightmare that they have created. Before we do that, we want to raffle off our Buffalo Wild Wing card. This is a gift card, and this gift card is worth $15. You're going to own me, you're going to purchase, and we're going to shake up our container, and we're going to pull a name for the individuals who will win this card because they sent their name in. They sent their name in. All right. Let's give a shout out to LaToya Tinsley Scott, Buffalo Wings gift card with $50. So we'll make sure we get her there. And the next one we're going to raffle off is raffling off this book. That's blank paper, so that's not why that's it. Raffling off the book, and we'll see what the name is. Come on, what's the name? Okay. All right. Is Chamonti William Kiki. She's winning this book, and we will send this book to her so she can have this book. So those are two items we're giving out today. That's LaToya Tinsley Scott and Chamonti Kiki Williams, the winner of the book. So congratulations to both of them, and we'll make sure they get theirs. And you can to put your name in here. We want to make sure it's in here so we can give you a prize as well. Those individuals go right back in the raffle, so they'll be able to win again because it's all given away. And also will receive, and everybody who put the name in will receive their love offerings from $5 to $100. We will send it to you. We're going to play one more clip for you. Matter of fact, there's two more clips that I need to play.
You're totally right. Okay, my reaction is very clear. You guys hear me say this almost in every single video. The results tell the story. He's a winner. You can criticize his personality. You can say that you don't like him and you don't like how he did this or that. But what you can't do and what you can't deny is what he has been able to accomplish. And being someone who was a clear Washington outsider to win the presidency, that in and of itself is an anomaly. But to do it 2 times, that says a lot about who he is. And Ben Jones is just finally catching up to the party. I mean, we've known that for quite some time. You don't attract millions amount of people supporting you in the way that you do if that's not who you are. And this is just not my opinion. Now you have it wrong.
My. That was just a clip just to say, lay it out on you to understand this is the way it is. No matter how we get angry, because I always tell this story. I had a young man come over to my home, and he was working on some electrical work. And that young man, this was in 2020, and he couldn't get his work done because he was talking about how much he disliked Trump, he hated what he tweets, and he's just so angry. And I told him, I said, it has nothing to do with what you come here to do. I actually do the work. Sometimes we can't get caught up in allowing our emotions to kind of lead us. We have to be able to think and believe. I always tell individuals I listen to all various platforms in mainstream media as well as social media. I listen to the news on all forms. I don't draw the conclusion until I hear all sides. The old favorite thing is that, you got your side, don't hurt that side. You got your truth, they got the truth, right in the middle, the real truth. And you have to make that decision. Our future will be when individuals will realize that we're going through challenging times. We've been through challenging, but things could be on the upswing when you just trust and believe in the process. Don't get focused on allowing your feelings to put you in a situation. Quickly, I want to play one other clip, and this clip is one of the surrogates for Kamala Harris was speaking on what he thought would be in the future for her. As soon as I can put my finger on it, and I think I have it right here. This is one of the surrogates. Matter of fact, it was one of the individuals served in the chair. So let's see if we can get it to play.
The last couple of weeks, donors, other supporters that she's been talking with is, it's blasphemy. I'm not going quietly into the night. Advisors, people close to her, are debating about what that means. They do not want her final official act ever to be essentially certifying Donald Trump's win over her, especially 4 years after January 6th. And so they look at this governor's race in California in 2026, and it seems to them like a layup, essentially, that she would probably, right? She'd need to essentially declare right away. And that is what it really comes down to, because Mr. Herbert saying she didn't get up there this year, it wasn't up to what she could have done, and look how well she performed anyway. She should get to go again in 2028. And then there was to say, look, with where things are with the Democratic Party, she would not have a clear field in the Democratic primary, and could lose the nomination. And to come off of 2024 into that would be really terrible. All right, so
why don't you just kind of listen to these are surrogates for Kamala Harris working with the campaign and trying to keep a positive, upbeat. Not saying that I can't do that, but let's be realistic. There's a lot that we're still trying to dissect. The autopsy on to see on the carnage that's left. And one of the things is that $1.5 billion that was donated and provided for this campaign. And there's a situation where employees of the DNC did not even get paid. They got a GoFundMe page. See, one of the things worst thing you can do as an individual when you get in the leadership role is when people identify that the money that they give to you is not in place, it can be tugged and tagged with you the rest of your days. You have donors coming out, Democratic, DNC donors. I mean, Morgan, one of them. I see him on television. I call his name out. And he simply just said in his interview that never will be. Because that's a waste of money when people, first of all, you can't handle the money of this party, $1.5 billion. How are you going to deal with the trillions of dollars of this country? These are kind of things. In the state of California, he's been very, very kind. But got a lot of people in California that's dealing with the governor now, Gavin Newsom, and not happy, and they know that's an extension of Gavin Newsom. Some may agree and disagree, but truly, let's think about all of that, and that's really exciting to kind of focus on. We just wanted to take an opportunity and kind of do a timeline and then try to put everything in perspective. I want to just kind of take this privilege to talk about something that was said earlier about busing and integration. As I said before you, as a well-polished man, meaning I have age behind me, you see the gray hair to prove it. I came through segregation as a child. I went through my first 5, 6 years, 7 years of school in segregated schools in the great state of Alabama. It's different from other states. California. And I saw a lot and experienced a lot. But all of that kind of prepared me for where I am today. My story is centered around being in a home where my both parents were there. My dad dropped out of high school in the 8th grade to go help his mom once his dad transitioned. My mom attended the university, the college at the time, Alabama State College. Got her what they call the office management of secretary associate degree. And that's where I was able, because of being blessed, to go through that period of time, to go to that university, Alabama State University, and successfully attain several degrees. But as I talk about my story during segregation, which I experienced the first period of integration when we was moved to certain schools, but I got a chance to go to a school that was coming out and being where we was probably about 10% of the population, less than that. School was K through, 1 through 9, first junior high I went to, and it was still going through the period of racism. I experienced it in many sorts, in many kinds, and a lot of the friends that went, it wasn't many of us, maybe about 15 or 20 started off, but it grown up to about 10% of the population of 1,200, 1 through 9, about 120 black children that had a chance to go to that school, but it was basically because we went middle school, but it expanded down to elementary as well. And I experienced that as a child walking home a lot of time from school and being ran up and down the roads. And these are streets in the city of Montgomery, Alabama, and Page Street, and by a truckload of Caucasian boys throwing white flour on me and running after me with bats and all that. So I experienced it personally. So when we sit up and talk about it now, you're not experiencing that because, see, your problem is you experience it because in your mind, well, I can tell you how you feel, but I can tell you if you hadn't literally had that physically happen to you, just because someone say and don't agree with you and they be of your same color or your same race, don't mean they're racist. Until that action is they physically do something, you can talk about. Because as I talk about my story, I talk about that incident, which I never told my mom or my dad about it because I would be very upset about it. I tried to handle it like a boy should handle it. Then moved on, even when I was in the 8th grade, had a situation in the shop class. Anybody know about industrial art? Have shop. And in shop, they have a door that divides so they can open it up, and the bottom where you can't go in and hand out things. And one of the young men handed out the Tuesday, used the N-word, called me the N-word. And I guess I had enough. And I took to a step that, causing us to be in physical contact with each other when it was, the altercation was broken up, and the teacher gave me a choice. Now, my choice going home to tell my mama that I'm at school fighting was the right choice. I could have told what was said. But the bottom line is she will tell me, I didn't send you to school to be fighting, son. You got a problem, bring it back home. That's what you should tell your children. Don't tell your children this is what you're supposed to do. Somebody do this, you bam, 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 like all of this TikTok crack I see. Because all you're doing is setting our children up where they're going to be in a tough situation. So we have to kind of say, so I didn't, but I was given a choice. The choice was, you can go to the office and get suspended from school, which I know at home it would have been worse than that. But the office, and the fear was there. Or you could take 3 licks here. At those times, corporate punishment all up until probably 2014, 15, 16, corporate punishment. And I chose to take corporate punishment from that Caucasian teacher. And I still think about that today. And I want y'all to understand, when you're running around here saying racism, ask your parents and your grandparents what they went through. I asked you a question the other day. Do you think you're better off now than your parents was? That's the way life's supposed to be. You should be better off. You have an opportunity to go to college. You have an opportunity to start a business. You have an opportunity to do a lot of things your parents couldn't do, or your grandparents. But your grandparents had a lot more in regards to having the belief in family. If you don't believe in your family, if you don't make that your resource and make sure your priority, then you're always going to fall out. You're always going to be behind. Don't let your emotions or your feelings dictate how your life goes. Make sure you remove feelings with words like, I think, I believe. These are the things we need to. If someone said, how that relate to what you went through? I learned from those things. My experience, those experiences I went through then when I was 10, 11, 12, 13 years old, I feel like made me the man I am today. God has blessed me in so many ways. So I'm thankful, and you should be thankful as well. And the best way to, instead of blaming other people or being a victim, is get out and do hard work. You have to work hard at whatever you profess that you want to do. I chose to go to school and get into education. I started off in engineering and moved into teaching, and God has blessed me to be able to go through that, retire, be able to start this radio station at my second phase of life. I had a career that I retired with over 36 years in the second phase. God bless me because of all of the experience I went through. Those experiences you say, oh, that wasn't nothing. No, you wasn't there, so you don't know whether it was nothing. Listen to the people who come before you. You don't know it if you hadn't lived it. How that ties in is that if someone calls a person or infer a person as being a racist because they're around racist people, they will never forget it. And from 2020, I don't think, and I know, just listening and seeing the action, the president did not forget it. And his wife definitely didn't forget it. And called that or inferred that in front of 20 million people or 10 million people, inferred in front of one is enough to get people very, very become resentful. Our goal is now is to understand that we're moving into a phase that the election is over with. We need to be supporting what can get better for us, but we need to put the work in. All I ask you to do is be willing to put the work in. Be willing to do what you need to do so after this election and your future can be bright. Our title is truly important because it gives us a look at it. And we got 2 or 3 more things we're going to talk about. We're going to do that on another day. But I wanted to go through this timeline because it's been in my crawl to make sure that I'm dealing with American politics. Truly a blessing to be able to do a deep dive in modern society. We're now in modern society. Let my work speak for me. My dad always told me, the amount of work determines what kind of man or woman you're going to be. Your ultimate goal is to be able to come from a child to an adolescent and bridge into adulthood to be impactful and influential. We all may not carry that title. We might be productive. But when you become in the category where you're influential and impactful, many of your peers look up to you. Many of your peers respect what you say. You're valued to the group. Ask yourself, is that you? But it wasn't because someone handed to it. I had to go through segregation. Go to school in segregation. Go to school when they integrated. Go to school into college, into post-integration. It is time for us to not blame others. It's time for us to put the work in, do what we need to do to be successful. That's what we need to do. We need to make sure we're willing to put the work in. So I hope each and every one of you all take time to be willing to put the work in. Put the work in. Don't look for someone to give you anything. Get this mentality about eighth place finish. Get this mentality that we operate in the gray. Life is all about black and white. And I don't mean race. I mean it is written in black on white paper. And you need to make sure you understand rules and laws and everything, because that's the problem we have ourselves. We do things wrong and want the system to save us. It's just like waiting in our communities for someone on a white horse, dressed in white, to save us. We have to save ourselves, working block by block, home by home. So American politics will not determine our fate. We will determine our fate. Prepare yourself for success. Prepare your children for success. Prepare your siblings, your cousins, your grandchildren for success. By thinking and believing, not feeling. Awesome coming before you. We've got Chris Marr, thank you. Sarah Special joining us. We had many others to pop up. Thank you so much for being here. We have Edna, thank you, Edna_Taylor 4 joining us. We also have Bama Chick 5 joining us. Cora Hendricks, thank you so much. And I thank you for writing. I totally agree with you. Unfortunately, racism still exists today. We're not saying it don't exist, but it's how you handle that situation that occurred. Are you going to be a victim? That's what I ask you. Are you going to be the victim? The world is not a perfect place. So make sure you put yourself in a position to deal with it. Because you have to. No one coming on with a white horse, dressed in white. You have to do it. You receive some of the greatest training because you've been through the greatest opportunity where your parents and your grandparents didn't have. Some form of education that prepared you. Some form of experience that prepared you. What you need to make sure you take those experiences and you look at them and look at the pros and cons of every experience in your life and see how you can be better the next time things happen. Put the work in. Put the work in so you can be successful. The last thing I'm going to leave with you. Don't blame others because you control your time and your energy. Time and energy allows you to make choices. Every choice has its consequences, good or bad. It's up to you. No one coming to save you. No one coming to pull you across, pull you up the wall. You have to crawl your way up to the top of that wall. Spend your time trying to be the best version of yourself. Everybody, I'm asking you to do that. But you got to put a plan of action. I always tell my children when they call me and they say they have some challenges, I always ask them, what's your plan? So when they call me, they need to have a plan. We have to have a plan for life. I just simply shared you what I went through as a child and a young man. a boy, if you want to say. I'm not sitting here with my head buried in the sand saying we don't have racism, but it's not going to determine where I go and where I need to be. It's based on me putting the work in to make me the best version of myself. Make yourself the best version of yourself. It'll take care of the rest. Bottom line. I want to thank each and every one of y'all for joining us. Let me give a shout out to Lena Jane. Thank you so much. Amanda Gray. Thank you for joining us. We also have, let me see some other good. That's not Madison, that's Middleton. Thank you. Scout Mickle. Thank you, Scott Michael. Thank you so much. Lisa, thank you for joining us as well. And this is Alicia, the counselor. Thank you, Alicia, for taking time to be here. Thank you again, Cora. We'll say hi to Sharon. We have a user, Kenneth Adams. Thank you for taking time to be here. We have Wilmer Black. Thank you so much, Wilmer. Say hi again to Cora. Breaky DeBray. Thank you so much. Goan K. 1940, member of Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated. Thank you, my brother, for joining us. We have Slick James. We also have Slick Fair 14. Thank you so much. Alethea Vaughn. Thank you. Daryl C. 90 is joining us. _ Norms. Yeah, Norms _ 11. Cheryl, thank you so much. Anthony Ross, thank you. Great. Thank you so much for joining us. D-Dib. Okay. I'm sorry. Dee Miss Swamp. Thank you so much. Martha Mobley. Snooker. Thank you. Miss Sassy B. Thank you for taking time. K-Tita. K-Tita. Thank you so much. The Tavern TikTok. Derek Pugh, a member of Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated. Zeta Phi Sigma Chapter of Greenville, Alabama. Cam, thank you so much. Sunshine Philly. Ash. Thank you, Renee. Thank you so much. Joe Knight. Alaba. Thank you so much. Mocha, another user. Thank each and every one of you all for joining us. Robert, thank you so much. Zenex, thank you so much. Rashty, thank you so much. Sweet Toy P, thank you, Sweet. Thank you so much. Zaria Young, thank you so much. Juden, thank you so much. David Smith, Andrew Smith, Andrew James Smith, Pokey Justice, Rafanata, thank you, Pastor Cross. Miss Linda, thank you, Miss Linda, for joining us today. Jerice Allen, thank you so much as well. And Miss Andre Gabriel, thank you. I called you out already. Louise, thank you so much. And Malik X, thank you for sending the likes up for each and every one of y'all. It's awesome coming for you. God has blessed us one more time. And see if anyone else on this wing and join us. No, that's all. That's all. Thank you. We have quite a few followers, about 28 followers. And thank you for the diamond. We have 1,300 diamonds over here on the Super Live. Thank you so much for purchasing a diamond. Thank you for your support, for being here. It's good coming to you, but we have 2 other phases. We're going to come back on our next show. We're going to focus on American education, and we're going to focus on America's scars. Those are the next 2 things that's dealing with exploring our future. We're going to do a series, so it will be a part 2, a deep dive into modern society. I'm Dr. Lewis D. Smith, the host of Our Voice, which where we focus on grassroots perspectives and the needs of individuals on the local level. I'm excited because we're broadcasting every 2 weeks, so we'll be coming back in 2 weeks on Tuesday at 3 o'clock. It'll be day before New Year. Day before New Year's. It might be New Year's. It is New Year's because the first is on a Wednesday. So we're going to broadcast and we're going to share our thoughts and complete this Exploring Our Future, a deep dive into modern society. Again, thank you so much. I want to let you know and let each and every one of you know I love you all from my heart, and this truly from my heart. God has blessed me to be able to come before you and just share some points of view about exploring our future, a deep dive into modern society. Let me see if there are any other additional people. Nate Pierre 8. Thank you, Nate, for joining. He just joined us. Ian Folks, thank you. Natasha Folks, thank you so much for joining us. So I want to let you know I love you all from my heart. Hashtag responsible. Hashtag make it do what it do. Hashtag, we got this. Hashtag keep on grinding. That's what I mean. Put the work in. Don't sit down and allow the system to swallow you up. Put the work in. You need to put the work in if you want to be successful. As I said, my dad told me as a boy, and through all those challenging times, what he said, the amount of work determines what kind of man you're going to be, son. So you got to put the work in. And then put hard work to be able to do a career in education, 36 years, also moving from a secondary level and now on a college campus for the last 6 to 7 years as a professor, along with a university supervisor, student intern that's going out to teach. Excited about being blessed with that. Having this on this radio station, have 2 other businesses I'm excited about having as well. God has just blessed me to be able to do this. Thank you so much, Lord. This is Smithway Enterprises, and we do a lot of things associated with consulting. Truly, that's a blessing. So truly, thank you, Lord, for what you have done so far. And thank you for each and every one of our watchers and listeners. That's coming out of 50 countries and on 6 continents. I want you to be blessed and be safe. On tomorrow, we have Tell the Truth Prime Time. The host with the most, Lisa Levine. We're going to look at following up on our topic for last, hate in America, American hate, hatred in America. And we're going to talk about what's going on from our point of view. And we want you to join us, and we expect we will be Zooming. So if you want to be a part of the Zoom, let me know. Email me at lorenzadsmith15@gmail.com. We include you in the Zoom because we'll send a link to you. That's the only way we're going to send the link. That way you can be a part of the Zoom tomorrow as we talk about American hatred, see why it's on the rise, and see how can we deal with this. Truly a blessing. The time for that show is 7 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time, 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. Again, be blessed, be safe. Thank you so much. I see Marlena. I have Seville. We got Marlena, Seville, Gomez. Thank you so much for typing out your name. Then also you 2 green objects down there you put there. Just let me know what they are. I can't hardly see them now. Thank you so much, Marlena, for doing that. As we get ready to close and step out of here, we're just so excited that we can bring this topic in this timeline and this deep dive into the carnage after November the 5th of the Democratic Party. We wanted to talk about it. So thank you so much for allowing me that opportunity. It's again WVSW Radio, the internet station. We're really excited that we're able to come before you and really talk about some things that have been truly dear to my heart. And I want to be able to play something that's really important because it talks about sometimes you have to whisper. We don't own the rights to the music, but as we get ready to close out, we're going to listen to this. Sometimes you have to whisper, you have to wait. Wait on it, wait on it, wait on it, wait on it. Have an awesome rest of the day. Rest of the night. Be blessed. Be safe. As we get ready to close out, I want to say thank you so much. I am Dr. Lawrence D. Smith. This is WVSW, the number one WVSW Radio, the number one internet station. I'm excited, and we just wanted to whisper something to you. As we get ready, we're going to close out with this right here. Getting the best of me, and the best of WVSW Radio, number one internet station. We're going to make it do what it do.
The Amex Business Gold Card. The flexible spending capacity that
Have a blessed rest of the evening. Be safe. We'll see you tomorrow at 7 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time, 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Tell the Truth Prime Time with the host with the most, Lisa Farrah Levine, and our co-host of this. I am Dr. Lawrence D. Smith. Be safe again. Be blessed. And I just want to say to you, see the worst in me. I know you ain't had that to happen. One more time. I said, he saw the best in me. When everyone else around me could only see the worst in me. Come on now. Woo! Slowly we're going to slide out of here. And I tell you, I want to say this. I love you. It ain't a darn thing you can do about it. Be safe. See the worst in me. Does anybody have that testimony? When some walks you off, said you would never make it. What did he see? He saw.